Kathy, you graduated from school this year and have your teacher certificate, and I understand you made application to 15 or so schools here in the state and some outside the state, but you've run into a problem in getting an interview.
Yes.
Would you explain that?
I have run into a problem getting an interview because I have written resumes and cover letters to these different schools to which I have applied, and on these resumes I have stated that I am blind because it asks for the high school that I attended, which was Alabama School for the Blind. And for various reasons I have not obtained an interview, but generally I just haven't received an answer of any kind.
Do you feel that the reason is because you've stated that you're blind, that you have not received an interview?
Yes, I think that has a great deal to do with it. And of course, education is crowded, but I think that has quite a bit to do with it.
Since you're not working, how are you living?
I'm living on supplemental security income and Social Security.
And what are you doing with your time most of the time?
Reading most of the time. And I'm also a ham radio operator, and I knit.
Well, when you were in school, you had to do practice teaching.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Certainly that would show that you are a qualified teacher.
Yes, I practice taught in the School for the Blind, which I think is possibly a drawback. But I practice taught because my advisor said that it would be easier to get the textbooks that I would need because I wouldn't have time to get them from the printing house in such a short period.
Had you requested teaching in a blind school?
No, I hadn't. I had requested teaching in a public school, but we had a conference, and after the conference was over, I was placed to the School for the Blind.
Would you object to teaching in the School to the Blind?
I wouldn't object. I would rather teach in the public school system, but many people have the idea that everyone who graduates from the School for the Blind and goes to a college will naturally come back there and teach. And of course, there aren't that many openings.
How would you manage teaching in a school of sighted, is that the correct term?
Yes.
Of sighted people?
I think it would be very easy, really, because I would learn where all my people sat, all my students. I would assign seats. Therefore, I would know my students very quickly.
How would you be able to discipline the students?
I have a very keen sense of hearing, and I can hear any unnecessary movement, including writing during class time when there maybe shouldn't be any writing going on, and possibly note-taking, and I would know if that would be supposed to be going on. So.
Could you recognize perhaps individuals who were involved by any sort of particular noises that they might make?
Yes. I could recognize them by location, for one thing, and for another, not any voice into it at all, then that would be a dead giveaway.
What if the kids decided to swap up their desk to throw you off? Mr. Bushman, I understand that you are looking for a type of employment that you would enjoy having, that you feel would be necessary for your livelihood, and that you're not now employed in the type of work that you want to be doing. For a while, for 16 years or so, you were with selling and demonstrating machinery. Why did you leave that job?
Well, I almost had to on account of my children. I had to come home to be with them. They were teenage children. I couldn't leave them with my parents all the time and put a burden on them, so I had to leave my job to come home to seek other employment so I could be at home at night with the children.
Your wife was not there then?
No.
And you were traveling?
That's right.
I see. And then you went into the service station business as an independent dealer.
Right.
And why didn't you continue in that business?
Well, the competition got so tough that my company wouldn't come down with the other companies, and there's a station right above me 4 cents a gallon cheaper now, and one right below me 4 cents a gallon cheaper, and I'm sitting in the middle, and I just couldn't stay with it. On 3 cents on the gallon's all I made, and I had to pump a lot of gas to make it like that.
You're working now for a Shell station. Is it the reason that you're looking for another job because you don't feel that this pays what you need, or what's the problem?
This is now I'm not making as much money as I'd like. I'm sure they're paying me all they can afford because I've been in the business myself, and I know they can just pay so much. As far as this Shell company, the company here is just as good to me as they can be.
What type of employment are you looking for?
Well, I'd like anything that maybe I could dry a dress pair of pants and a clean shirt and without having to stay in grease all the time, what I can bring home enough, at least $800 a month. If I can make $800 a month or something, I feel like I can make a decent living at it.
Now, I understand that you have gone out and you've looked for jobs, but you feel that because you're handicapped, is that correct?
Well,
you
that's
feel this
what
is
they
the reason
told
you've
me.
been turned down?
They told me, says, we just don't employ people with physical handicaps, not to even drive a pickup truck. That if you got a physical handicap, well, we have to put it on our application, or you have to stand a physical, which I could pass it physical, other than just being one-handed. But they said, we just can't get you insured, or we just don't employ people with a handicap that way.
Well, obviously they don't feel that you could do the job.
Well, they didn't give me a chance to show them where I could do the job or not. I mean, all I asked them to do is to give me the opportunity to see where I could do the job. And driving a pickup truck, that's no big deal at all. When I drove a truck with 16 forward gears on them, and this little half-ton truck, well, we have service trucks here that I drive every day, that size. And if I can drive them here, to go jump off cars or take people gas without a gas or anything, I don't see why I couldn't haul valuable papers from one bank to another.
And you feel that the reason is because you're handicapped?
Well, apparently that. I don't know of any other reason why.
Or do you consider yourself handicapped?
I don't consider myself a handicap, never have. I do anything anybody else do. I tie a shoe with one hand, can you? It's one thing I can't do one-handed, and that's button a long sleeve on this hand. The only thing I've not learned to do.
And that's all?
That's all I can recall. I learned to write right-handed again. I had to write left-handed, but I write up hundreds of tickets a day again.
I have been at the Rehabilitation Center for 13 years, and I've had a good deal of experience in trying to place handicapped people in employment. A number of years ago, it was much more difficult even than it is today. There were a lot of built-in prejudices against these people. They themselves had been garroted away and not put in contact with the competitive job market, and some had rehabilitated themselves, but we as an organization have found that in dealing with the general public and the firms that deal in large employment, that these people many times are passed over because there's so many other people available. They don't want to create a problem perhaps at their job level, or perhaps they as a personnel director are put on the spot by the leaders of the firm that they're getting people into the organization that are not qualified. But where these people have been placed, for example, in one place I know where one bank hires 13 handicapped people in one department, and only handicapped people, that these people have a far better work record than the normal employee that comes into the organization. But if they go out on their own simply to find employment without a placement specialist with them, without previous contacts on the part of friends and others, they do run into a great many difficulties.
Why is it that some handicapped people are still encountering great problems in trying to find jobs that they're trained for?
Well, I think public awareness and has been our problem. We are trying more and more to educate the people, and I think with improved legislation, more organizations like the Governor's Committee, more activities like vocational rehabilitation training, that we are making some inroads into the difficulties and the problems of the past. And I think in the future we will be able to look forward to a better record in this area. I do know that there will be people continually who will experience difficulty in trying to find employment because they go out on their own, and maybe they send in a resume, and maybe 3 or 4 people had applied for the position, and they sought the easy way out and hired the person who would present what they considered no problem to the firm itself.